computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Okay, so hey there. This is a live stream on creating some artwork. That's what I'm going to be doing today. As the title suggests, I'm going to create some concept art for a unannounced horror game that I'm currently working on. As if you have seen my earlier videos, I also had another game, 2D game, on an alien fish. And well, let's just say that for now that project is paused. I'm currently focusing on this project. Honestly, kind of got tired with that one. It was a tiring experience, and want to change it up a bit. As I was saying, I had to check a couple of settings to make sure that the stream was on and working. As I was saying, that project is currently on pause, and currently working on this project, which is half finished, but I thought that I want to actually finish it whilst I am streaming to make it a bit more interesting. And so here's everything that I have worked on so far. Which is basically, this is a forest with a circus inside, or a circus set in a forest, and it's all going to be creepy like. So that's what I'm currently working on. This is the sketch, I guess. Try and move all these layers. So we have like a forest here and anything else. We have a creepy little thing here that I'm going to be adding. That's besides the point. Currently I'm focusing on these trees, and I want to finish these as fast as possible. I tried making these look really creepy. I don't know how much I actually succeeded at that, but a try is a try. And hey there, Zix. Thanks. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, so far so good. It's going nice. Still needs a lot of work. Still needs a lot of work. Really what I'm trying to do is fix what I have here. I got a bit too excited whilst making this, and I made it completely in one layer, this background. So that's gonna be a bit problematic when I want to color it and stuff, but I think I am able to actually work on it. I don't want to remove this tree. Actually removed it just fine. It's actually removing it really fine. Okay. Set this back. I have these as separate layers. Now what is this layer? Okay. This needs a bit more shading and a bit more work. Apart from that, does not look bad. Actually, I'm going to select these trees. We set them up as a new layer instead of having all in the same one. So Control J, Control J, select them again. This time we can delete them. There we go. So we have two separate layers. This is going to be the foreground. These are going to be the trees. So let's just continue off with working with the trees. A couple of things needed to make these look nice. What I'm going to do for now is just add in some squares. Okay. That to intersect. To add some like thin trees far away. I'm just going to do that by adding some selections and filling them up. Make sure that I'm on the correct layer, which seems to be correct. Push them up. See on context. Yeah, that works. That works. Now what I need to do is actually just shade this. I need to select which ones are going to be closer and which ones are going to be farther. Okay. Okay, I have an idea. I'm going to pick this color and lower the opacity of the brush. Select and get a mask. And all I'm going to do is simply add some shading. And the shading is actually going to be this side. Because we're going to have a moon placed about here. Obviously, as the lighting goes, it's going to change position of the it's going to change the position of the shading and the light direction. And now we can kind of shade these branches, which are pretty small and kind of difficult to shade, but we're gonna do a good job of it either way. Or at least we're going to try to. This is actually going to happen in this opposite direction. And pick this color, which is not exactly white, but it's a real light gray. I'm just going to add that now. Here's the opacity bit. Add some shading to this tree as well. And now let's see it on context. Okay, it does not look bad. It definitely needs more shading though, because these are standing out a bit in the wrong way, so let's add some shading. It needs to be a lot darker at the bottom here. So I'm going to add the shading in this way. Just so I kind of blended with the ground. Not something that's going to be super noticeable, but that's the point. To make it not look noticeable. So far it's not looking bad. Obviously we can do a lot better. We can do a whole lot better. Obviously we have this part. I'm going to lock this as well. And just as a tip, when you're painting like this, if you're new, just lock everything. Like if you have separate layers, lock those layers just so you don't mess up accidentally. These types of mistakes happen all the time, so they're not something to be worried about, just you can prevent it. And obviously be careful. I'm going to select this again and mask. And now we could do the same effect using this pixel transparency, but I usually tend to work with masks. You want a tip on that, like how to not paint outside of your shapes. That's how you can do it. Now this is a bit of transparent here, and I obviously don't want that. Let's fill that in. Get a lighter color. Let's completely turn this on its head. And let's just kind of give it a gradient between the colors. This does not look bad. Let's zoom out a bit, see how it looks like from far. If your image looks okay or sort of realistic from afar or zoomed out, then you're on a good direction. And I think that this looks okay. So we're actually going to continue off. The colors are nice. The sky might be a bit too light once I convert it to color, but I'm going to try to keep those colors really desaturated, almost black. and we'll see how it looks then. Let's add some light on the ground here. Just a couple of strokes here and there. This does not look bad. Now, if we wanted to, we could actually add in a bush, which I'm going to actually add in a new layer. So the opacity 100, which it already is. Let's just think how we're going to add this bush. We could do something simple like that. And if you have a sort of perspective set for your world, then you should definitely follow that, just so that it works fine with the rest of your painting. And now this shape, as rough as it is actually really nice because of the leaves, and we can emulate some leaves, or simulate, whichever option it is. And for this one, I'm actually going to use the Lock Transparent Pixels add-on, or filter, whatever it is. We're gonna pick some brighter color. I'm just going to kind of, on a swirly motion, do this, and increase the sizing, and just tap, like making a painting, an actual painting. And obviously this is kind of blending way too much. We can take this color and add some darkness to this part right here. Well, that looks okay-ish. We can add some really light color on top like this. Just on the edges of the bush. Simulate the reflection. Still doesn't look that okay, but I think one way that I could actually make this work is using the lasso tool and just add in some wiggly and shaky selections. Like this. Just meh. Okay, whatever. I can just delete it if I don't like it in the end. I'm going to remove the selection and add these shadows now here. I'm going to leave it for now, just for the fun of it. But I'll have to see if it actually works out. Kind of looks better with it, but it's this space, it's a bit too empty, that's why it looks good with it. So I actually have to add something there. Either improve this bush or add something to fill up this space. And you can kind of tell with this painting that there is a perspective set, and you can tell the line of the horizon is kind of this way. If I were to put the line down, or actually I might have this guess. Yeah, that's exactly right. Line of the perspective is actually this. I think I had it on point actually. I'm going to give myself a pat in the back. Now obviously if we go to the sketch here, and we can kind of tell if we've done, or if I've done a good job or not. I think I have. Yeah. Now obviously there's a whole lot of stuff happening here. There are more tents farther away. And I have this spinny thingy, whatever it is. Now I actually made or I requested AI to make a sort of thumbnail for a black and white kind of tent, creepy looking tent for circus. And I added this spinny thingy, which could be like a carousel or something like that. And it also added these creepy lights, which I'm definitely going to take inspiration from and or just copy it, I guess, and actually add the scene. Now, so that I didn't go exactly copy paste with the tent, except for the whole ribbons type of thing. But for the lights or for the lanterns or whatever these are, making long and thin lanterns is going to work really fine on the creepy factor, the same way that these trees are. I just need to work on the spacing between the trees and this tent. Hmm. I'm actually going to start working on that carousel thing, and let's make a ball first. Going to try to draw it as best as I can. Okay. I think first I need a circle here. Make it slanted a bit like that. And then going on a new layer and define it. Okay, it's kind of crooked, but we can actually make that fit in. It doesn't matter. This part will be in the back, this part will be in the front. And obviously, this will be a bit thicker since it's closer to the camera. And let's rotate this, get more comfortable. Full position. Okay, so we have this weird thing. Let's add one more here. Let's leave this layer here. And now we can select the tent, Control I to invert the selection, and the mask. Certainly go to select, inverse, mask. Okay, there we go. So now that part is behind this wheel. And since I have these sort of leaves falling down, I can actually just use the same brush that I've been using and go to the selection, add in black, and do this. Signify that it's going in the vegetation. Okay, This is not looking bad. Could look better, but for concept art, it's not bad. And in total, if I was to sum up the hours, because I haven't been working on this non-stop, this has been some work that I've done over this week, over these past few days. If I was to summon up the hours I've been working on this, it would be about 3 hours, 4 maybe at most. It's probably less than that actually, if I think about it. It could be up to 3 hours. At most, it's actually 3 hours, now that I'm thinking about it. I think that with another hour and a half, this actually could be finished. So let's actually try to finish this as quickly as possible now. I'm not trying to make, or I'm not trying to take 1 hour to finish this. And let's turn this off for now. Now this is taking its place. I think that needs a bit more, or a few more elements. I'm going to use another layer. And I'm going to add in those lanterns, which I'm simply going to do like this. See how it looks. Pretty bad, not gonna lie. But we can make it look okay. And these are going to be like small details. So I'm not worried if they don't look super detailed or something. See, that does not look that bad. That looks okay. So now, let's remove this. Well, let's remove everything. Let's just add this background layer right above this. We're going to add some tents. One of these tents is going to be really far down here, and the other one even farther. And I'm going to use this color like in the middle, right in the middle. It doesn't have to be dark or light. It just needs to signify that this is far away, it's not close. And one more tip or rule of thumb. If you're making artwork and you want to look at as good as possible, if you're creating an environment, you want to go from light to dark, meaning that the lighter the color is and the more desaturated it is, it actually is farther away from the camera or the viewpoint. And the closer it is, it starts to get more saturated and darker. So just have that in mind. And if you can see, this is all desaturated because it's all in black and white. But the farther I go away, there are things and details that you can't see, but they're all in light color. They're almost blending in. It's almost a gradient with the color of the sky, which I've set. And I haven't used completely white colors, apparently apart from this. Everything else is just... Actually, it's not completely white. I was selecting a map, masking map. And as you can see, the closer I get to the camera and the shading, the darker it gets. And this sells the image of something being far away. Now, selecting these, I'm going to place them behind these sort of bushes that I've created. And one more thing, if you're creating a painting, then the farther something is, obviously, it has less details. Also, try to keep things in perspective. So, I made these, and now I'm realizing that while I was trying to make them look really small, I actually made them look like grays or something, which is fine if that's something that you want to add. And thinking about it, I think it was a happy accident, because I think I can add them as graves. But then again, why would you have graves in a circuit? So, instead of that, I'm actually going to add like a cage or something. Which got a bit darker, but that's fine. I'm going to add a darker color here, and I'm going to lock. Color this in. Maybe it needs to be a bit lighter. It's just about this color. Nah, it does not look that good actually. I think what I can do is do that with the selection tool. This color painted. Yeah, that actually works a bit better. And I can add one of those on the foreground here. Kind of symbolize the actual size of this. Or I could add one of these cages on the foreground, closest to the camera. So I'm going to select this. Then I'm going to add some bars using the selection tool. I'm going to make them kind of bent, so that actually looks like it's simulated curvature. I can cut off there, it doesn't matter. So this can be the back part of the cage. I'm just simply going to fill this up with a color. If I can get the... Okay, then I'm going to add a new layer and add in more of these bad boys. To the selection, I'm going to add a darker color this time, and you'll see why. So now I can actually just merge these two and start painting them and blending them together. Set mask before I do anything, and I will regret later on. As you can see, I'm just going with the same color of these bars over here and add in some color, add in some shading. Again, that's where shading, I think that's as good as it gets. Obviously, it gets a bit better if I keep working on it, but I'm not going to focus on this too much for now, at least. I'll have to get back to this. Now I'm just going to use some lighting. It's fine, I think. I'm going to add the lightest color that I possibly can. I'm going to color pick that color. Using a smaller brush, I'm just going to add this as a shine. Really lightly, really gently. Wait, what the heck did I do? Okay. I'm going to blend this together. And that's looking acceptable. Obviously want this to be put in this position. Want the trees to go behind this, right here. Does not look bad. That's going to be a bit of in focus with the coloring, since it's the darkest color. I was going to attract the eyes the fastest. It's fine, we can live with that. Let's go to this. Transparent pixels locked. Okay. There you go. Now I think this is ready for coloring, or a base at least. A base of color. I'm going to group this. I'm just going to group everything. I'm going to leave one group. This is going to be the original version. It's down there. And we'll leave this group. I have my keyboard on a really bad spot, but whatever. Going to add some color. I'm going to set this. Actually, we can actually add something like a gradient map. This is just going to be for the sky. So now we have to work with a lot of settings here. So this color is going to be like this. Now this looks pretty strange. Foreground to background, yeah. Okay. This is the foreground. I'm gonna add this, and then foreground is going to be a bit lighter. About there. That's gradient map 1. And we can add gradient maps on top of gradient maps, or we can add color directly and just set it to overlay or some blending layer. So let's just take our brush and this is set to overlay. Even set it to multiply. I think overlay seems to be working the best actually. So I'm just going to keep going with that. It's that. Let's get an idea of what this is going to look like. These are going to be red, the classic red and white. Okay. This method, while yeah, I technically could make it work, it's just not efficient. I think going on a classic way, coloring would actually be more efficient than this currently is. Just make this, but just for the sake of like testing out which colors we're going to be using and how this is going to look like in the end. For those purposes, this is fine. Okay. Now this looks okay. And I think we'll actually have to pick this up again in another stream, because I do not have any more time to work on this. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you will tune in the next stream. We're gonna have some fun with this painting. Thanks a lot, and have a good one. Bye bye.